Call to order the recreation meeting today on May 5th. It's 12:10. A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi guys. Happy rainy, drizzly Monday. Welcome to Recreation. So it looks like we might have a new board member. So maybe we just do a quick intro there so that our viewing audience can meet her.
Should we just kind of do a quick one on ourselves?
Everybody would be great. Sure. Go for it.
I'm Rachel Palmer, and I have rep for 5 years.
Yeah, you're our chair. Do that.
Bluetooth matching failed.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
All right, I'm Liz here. I've been here 4 years, I think, right after you. Much.
You're us.
Nat Evans, and I don't, what, 6 years, 5 years?
You're our secretary.
Secretary, so.
Yeah. And our newest member?
Mary Jane Churchville. I'm on the finance committee of the town. I'm on the artistic commission when I moved to this separation. Remember, plenty to do.
All right, so we don't have a ton today, but there's a bunch of stuff that we've sort of been putting into play that I've been working on with some other community members. Once the kind of uproar went out, anyway, we'll go with that. We've put some things into place, some campaigns into place to sort of get things jump started through. Obviously, we know summer is extremely crazy for us getting the summer program put together. And now that the threat of rec being closed that came from an earlier meeting is no longer in play, we're actually getting registrations for summer rec. So that's fantastic too. So we're pushing in that, but we do have quite a few things that we want to get into play or that we're currently working on going forward. And to help with that, because again, one person, and again, with the budget, there is no hope of an assistant director at this time with the funding that we currently have. So to help with that a little bit, I actually have been in an AI boot camp, and I did 4 major classes, and I have access for their library and their prompts and everything for the next 6 months. So basically ChatGPT and Claude is what I'm primarily working on. There's Notion and there's a whole host of availabilities for AI. What it means for us is an assistant for me, basically, so that I can talk into it or plug in what I already have for logos, for advertising, etc. Pull it all together, create an entire campaign for us, an entire layout for us. You actually have some, we'll go over them, some cheat sheets, so that we have everything in order. So I'm not spending 5 hours doing it. I can plug in what I currently have, speak my words, and then go in and personalize the whole thing. Because I'm not a fan of AI as its generic self. I'm not. And honestly, Claude is much better at speaking than ChatGPT is, but ChatGPT is much better at doing it with your personality. So there's pros and cons to the two. And Canva, actually, I think I told you guys this already. I went to their 2.0 launch online for their brand new visual suite and learned. They just unloaded, I don't know, I think it's 4 or 5 brand new AI systems too in Canva, which we've been using for years now. So I took that course so that I would know how to use their new tools too. So they're better at things like graphics. But my other AI systems can create the templates. I can put them into Canva and then again, personalize them, do faces that we want, looks that we want. So actually you guys have a couple of them in front of you right now. So the front one is this one, the fitness court one. Yep, is. And then the other one is actually one Megan did that we're integrating with the other new stuff. But this is one here. I had the big ones up, but they got rained on, so we took them down. So I've been working on those. You've seen, actually, you should have seen a couple of them online already.
Yeah.
Um,
More stuff.
Yeah, my Mother's Day one, it took me,
That
10
was
minutes
good,
instead of an
yeah.
hour.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, 10 minutes,
Yeah.
10 minutes instead of an hour. So like I said, I'm trying to maximize my time, further, because before I've had teenagers to do it.
Yeah.
But I need them to be, with summer coming, I need them to be focused on our upcoming
Of
plans,
course,
not
yeah.
on not on helping me do media,
Oh,
right?
That need
Mhm.
for set hands for
Mhm.
well, since the last
Mhm.
for that role,
Yeah,
and it made sense in this current
Yeah,
situation.
absolutely.
Go
Yep.
forward with that.
So what I did was all of the things for NFC, and I have copies of them here. You guys have I think you guys just have the top outreach cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I plugged in everything from NFC. Oh, here you go, honey. There's one over here. Oh yeah, you guys all should have. Do you guys not have? Oh, these here. No, these.
The blue line.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's a cheat sheet, and that's the one. That's the one you want right now, and then the other one we'll go over afterwards. So AI created that one. What I did was I actually uploaded NFCs, my launch folder, the sponsorship folder, basically 5 years of working on this, and including the research that we've done on the health and mental impacts of outdoor recreation. I pulled all the research that we did on what happens with real estate values and the sell as a community. Like, so all of that is now in a comprehensive campaign, like all put together. And what I did was I created off of this, I have sponsors, I've got postcard content. I've got postcard content. I have social media, like pictures.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. AI and me. So you guys can look at these at your leisure. That's some of the stuff. Instead of wasting paper and ink,
Yeah. We can share. Yeah, I said we got like, are we gonna use it or? You have to use it.
So some of it you do, some of it's free. It just depends on what you have.
Probably what we're using.
Yeah. So So the rec account is free. I have one personally that I pay $20. It's just like Adobe. You pay $20 a month. We already pay Canva. We have a Canva team. We pay $20 a month for that for recreation. Adobe, same thing. It's like $20 a month. And then I have Rec's paying for boot camp, but I'm paying for the internal chats for me, like so that I can boost the free stuff for Rec. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So this is a postcard front, and as I said,
are they going to be targeted or more like?
So no, they're actually targeted, and so I already have business listings, and then I fed that also into AI and said, hey, let's pull all of the ones that have to do with health and wellness. Let's pull all of the doctors. Let's pull all of the ones that have to do with food service. So I actually have lists with tracking tabs for all of the businesses too. So that's my first, and if you look at the campaign, that's a lot of and the paperwork that's coming around. A lot of it is focused that specifically. And then the general public, I have the handouts. These are going to go out like just everywhere.
Yeah,
they're going to be on all the tables everywhere, the smaller ones that we have. Yeah, so there's just a lot. But again, with a cheat sheet, with a cover letter or checklist, basically we can go down the list and say, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. This is the best order to do this. I've sent all the NFC stuff to Annie over there so that she can run it through their company and make sure that it's all our NFC contact, make sure that it's all actually compliant with their needs as well. Like some of the stuff has the information for Massachusetts Blue Cross Blue Shield and MIIA on it because it's required to, if you're doing publicity, and those are huge grants for us. So they're on quite a bit of it. But yeah, basically it's got all the miscellanea that we've got. And then once we get to the launch point, then we're going to have, NFC has a launch kit. So I'm going to dump that in and add our stories and our voice to it. And Liz, like our videos from years ago, you, me, and Dan, will add that into the media kit, and those will all be published as well. So it's kind of a really great blend of what they've given us that's very generic, and then tying what we can into Townsend specific. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why
It's 26, yeah.
26.
It's got no, what is this year? 25. It should be 25. Yeah. I still have editing to do, as you can tell. These are my prelims. Yeah. No, it's on a couple of the other ones too. But well, yeah, and like I said, I literally uploaded almost everything that we've done in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So you might even find something that has 2019 on it. I mean, truthfully.
Can this go to Ashland Public as well?
Of course. No, it's free and open to the community. There's no gates on it. There's no locks on it. There's no doors on it. It's open. So all of it'll go. Yes. And all of this information in this publicity. And when I did towns and businesses, I actually did all within a 20-mile radius. So it wasn't just specifically Townsend. So I actually do have stuff from Pepperell, from Ashby to New Hampshire. Yep. So all of these will go out. I'll be putting them at their libraries. I'll be putting them at, the general stores. We'll be sending it out to the local businesses. Like, it's just going everywhere. And I'm going to do personal knock on doors, going back to my hospitality roots, going to the businesses myself and knocking on the door. So, but like I said, I did do the listing for 20-mile radius for Townsend. And yeah, it was a lot. It took a while, even as fast as AI is, it took a while to chug through everything. Okay. And then I had to dump a bunch. There was a lot. We had to be, okay, that's no longer relevant. The old sponsor packet that they had is no longer relevant. They have a completely different setup now. Like, it's different. So we had to go through. But again, it took me, 5 hours to pull everything together instead of 20 hours to pull it all together. And then I'll go through and I'll edit, and that'll take me an hour instead of taking me another 5 hours, so time saving wise, it makes sense. And I did give Annie should have the web. So the one that's going to be the postcard is also going to be the primary picture on our website. Okay. The one that Matt has in front of him right now. That's actually going to be the one that's going to go on the front page of our website. So I can't create another page, but I can just do it as an additional related link. Okay. So, but I have to enter as a JPEG. You can't embed another website. So I'm going to do that, and it'll have the donation information on that. And I've already spoken with Katie. We'll get together and put together a fundraiser account specifically for that. So it will be separate, and they will be under the general payments, and then that will be deposited when I do my deposit separately into that account. So that will be, very clearly separate. The instructions on the web page will be very clear exactly where you need to go, what you need to put in, so that it all can be, and so that they can utilize those receipts as tax deductible. Yeah. So that should all be within it as well. Great. So like I said, there's a lot, but this gives me a chance to whittle it down instead of the massive amounts of binders where I'm flipping through each one. I can be like, okay, this is XYZ, this is XYZ, this is XYZ. And it just puts things in more biteable portions, right?
That's how time collecting information.
Exactly. Disseminate it. Yeah, it needs to go out. And like I said, it's with NFC right now to get the final approval so that they can go out into the media world, because I can't do anything with them yet. Yeah.
But like
for that, right?
We're on July 31st.
Mm-hmm. And again, these went out, just handouts, but it does have the grants on the bottom. But as for publicity wise, like I said, we have to get clearance for them. Yeah. So we'll wait on that. But I asked for Wednesday and Friday this week. Wednesday for the web page and Friday for printables. so that we can get ordered what we need to get ordered. I can print what we need to print, and we can start sticking them everywhere we need them to go. NFC, our contact over there, Annie, she'll be sending it to their marketing and their compliance department, just to make sure, again, that we don't have any, areas that we are saying things we shouldn't or not saying things that we should.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of just handled, okay, AI Bootcamp and MC together. Concrete, that's being worked on by Bob Garside.
Yeah,
So he's found somebody for concrete. My understanding is right now he's trying to see if we can get it as a donation in kind. If not, we're going to have to look at the revolving fund for the $10,000 for it.
So it's not like,
Well, to just let me know.
yeah, and if you know the amount.
Yeah. And that's, he had sent one, and I said, that's the other thing, if we do need this, I need the exact amount. My board's going to have to vote on it. We have to, if there's a process in place. I can't just order. And they're doing a great job. They're keeping in contact and doing what they need to do. So I'll be following up with them when I have my next meeting with Andy. Sponsor letters, grants, Kiernan, is it Kiernan? Oh, I'm so sorry if I'm, do. So we're trying in that specific grant again, and I'm still, as usual, on the hunt for additional grants. Which I'd love to be able to utilize to whittle down that 30,000. But again, in the whole, and she's so funny because when I spoke to her last, she's like, yeah. Yep. So we just need to push it over the edge. Summer rec publicity. So again, we got a little bit of a hit from talking to some of our former parents when things were like in, wording. It's kind of fun, so that's fine. But I also have a summer rec publicity push going on. Again, you've got some of the small flyers. We have the bigger ones. I have a big flyer that says, "Did you know?" And actually, this one's I really am proud of this one.
This one up here.
Yeah. Well, that's the "Did you know?" And then it had the large pale blue sheet that was it was striking. It was really nicely visual. But the "Did you know?" I really like because it emphasized those things that make us different from the other programs that are out there. The flexible options, the longer hours, that our staff is all trained and certified in a lot of things. We're not just, I'm hiring summer rec counselors, right. But I got to get them certified in all the things.
I think it's really important.
Yeah. And right now, so like the Mass Safe Kids Thrive, that, I'm sure you are familiar with it, Liz, but that has to do with sexual and physical abuse safety for children. And Massachusetts does have an organization that does a full class and certification in that. steps and ways that you can incorporate it into your language and your program, which I've started doing already. And
The more qualified stuff.
yep, the more information, the more qualified, the more, and where everybody needs to go. You know, who do you go to if there's a, you know, a question or a concern? A team that you can trust. Most of our staff has 4+ years with us. You know, and many of them actually grew up in our programs. Again, not the norm. And that we're rooted in tradition. You know, we play classic games, crafts, community togetherness. We're, you know, open to the public. We're wandering our town. We're doing scavenger hunts. We're connecting to the history, which again, not the norm for a lot of the programs. So it really is very special in a lot of what we do. And focusing on some of that, I think is key, to letting folks know that for under $7 an hour, what you're getting is a huge amount of support, care, and fun for your kids. You know, like it's a lot.
And it all goes back into.
And it all goes right back in. Yeah, it goes right back in. Yeah, it's not, you know, not lining anybody. Like it's going right back in. And to the next grouping.
Hopefully do more of those, like the day who's open to the public.
Yeah. Yeah. The contracts that we had in place for some of that, the funding.
Yeah, we lost. Yeah.
So the ARPA funding that was allocated to that, and signed contracts that were submitted to the town, and they were approved.
So
the money was taken
what's happening
at the
So what we need to do is plan how we can cover those things going forward.
Yep.
And as usual, we're gonna end up eating it in our revolving fund, but
we're gonna have to do what we have to do as we usually do. Like I mean, we work it that way. We'll be creative. And again, hopefully we can work on a few grants for some of them. Since they're open to the public, you know, Amanda Dwight's an option. For a couple of the programs or a couple of the events that we're looking to do. So I'm looking in that one again. I was trying to find their most recent paperwork and I couldn't. So I'm gonna have to, you know, I'll call Karen and just see if she's, you know, she can head that over to me. But we'll do what we're doing. Like I said, I've got a publicity push. The flyers are all going to go out again. New QR codes. The library puts it in their newsletter for us usually. We'll have the mini ones. I'll pepper them everywhere that we possibly can. You know, my staff will do the same. I'll more than likely be calling on all of you to do the exact same. You know, like that's what we're going to do. We're just going to, you know, paper the town with it. And obviously I'm already answering questions from emails from parents, and, you know, I've had some requests out of, you know, it's so funny. I've had a couple of requests from folks. They're like, so I live in, one was Brookline, New Hampshire. One was like, well, we live in Lunenburg. We're not moving till Ashby until, and I'm like, it's irrelevant. We pay for ourselves. You're welcome to come. We'll take you. Yeah. You don't have to live in town. We've had a lot of New Hampshire kids, especially over the years, you know, the border, in some ways it's closer than Ashby, you know, like it's a nice thing. Yeah. It's a nice thing to add that. And it's really so great for the kids to meet and play with kids outside of their standard school year circle. You know, it's just that extra exposure, I think, is just really valuable. So that's kind of great. But yeah, I have that pushes on. So we're working on that. I'm not sure if you guys saw at the last, we have these out, the experience. We're trying to pull together testimonials. I sent out a big email as well. It kind of went in the midst. Unfortunately, I think
there's so much coming out right now. A lot of us getting lost.
And so my focus is on next week, because a lot is getting lost with what is going on in the town. A lot is getting lost. And the focus is broader than individual in a lot of cases. So we're working on testimonials, because that's going to play a big part in a lot of our social media going forwards and our newsletters going forwards. I will say, let me grab this off my desk really quick. A couple of our rec kids did some.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is adorable.
Yeah.
So, all right. Wednesdays, one of her favorite towns and rec memories, when someone made a Lego tower that reached the ceiling, which is adorable. Finn, one of our girls, Finn. My favorite rec memory is when one day we did a science craft. She loves science, so we're doing STEM. Quinton's is going to the river. He loves going to the river. So we had a couple from our little ragamuffins. They just took them right off the table themselves and did them. So fun.
Like baskets?
Yeah, and so that's it. Yep. I'm sending them out. We want to get as many as we can. I'd like to create like a book, like this is Towns Rec. I mean, I've been here for 12 years. Ski Club is even broader. Yeah. So not just summer, my rec kids, the ski kids, the kids that have come to the dance. I mean, I'm trying to send it as many places as I possibly can. Like just.
Well, I feel like we should hit up our staff too.
Absolutely. I have a lot of Messenger, so I've been sending them stuff too. They're probably getting sick of me by now, but we'll see. I want to see if we can get a couple of them to come by to visit too.
Yeah.
Especially, talk about what they're doing with themselves, bring their babies, their spouses. Because I mean, I've been here long enough that, some of them are doing that, which is wild. Friends of group. Okay, so you guys should have on the back side of your agenda, on the second page of your agenda, and you guys should have a 2-sheet Friends of Rec quick launch cheat sheet. Okay, so these are a wicked work in progress. This is very, very preliminary. Until we actually have the 501c, a lot of what I have already mocked up, nothing's happening with that yet. But Edri has already working on, again, humanizing, adding personal stories.
And she's
so brilliant.
Yeah.
So we're scheduled next week to meet. I'm scheduled next week to meet with Kim and for Edri to go over the 501c. But if
that's been a
long time coming. Yeah.
That's great.
And you can see on the second page of where your agenda is, there's one that it says establish a Friends of Towns and Recreation group.
Yeah.
So it's convening an organizing committee to create that 501c3. We need to connect a rec commissioner as a liaison to the group. Seek tech assistance from TEO, and TEO is already willing, I've spoken with them, to act in a fiduciary capacity basically until we can get the 501c. So they can actually apply for grants on our behalf as a fellow 501c.
We're working together.
And I know, isn't that fantastic? And TEO is so great to work with. We've done some stuff with them generally in years past. And as you know, volunteering there is a big thing in my family. So they're just an absolutely amazing organization. We've done food drives for them in the past, and and helping us helps them because we're an affordable program.
Of course, yeah.
So it's really great all the way out. We need to create the committee to review bylaws, mission, launch the inaugural campaign, which it comes into what I have here, apply for small grants and sponsorship. So what you guys have, this quick launch cheat sheet, that's basically what that launches, the campaign is.
Okay.
Yep, broken down. And I've got a first month checklist. Now, within that cheat sheet, it says send welcome emails to new friends. Okay, so I have like 5 emails mocked up already that are now with Edri, and we're going to work on. And basically, they're just, and I don't want people to be like, oh, we're being inundated with AI. We're not. We're literally using it as a guideline so that we can rewrite it ourselves. Like that's the goal. It's not the goal to be like, oh, let's just hand it all off. It's let's be smarter with the limited amount of time that we have. Because we have limited people.
Yeah.
Right?
All hands on deck.
So it's all hands on deck. We are, as much as you guys all ready to work a couple shifts this summer?
Absolutely. I was wondering if we had any vacation time yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna
take my vacation's already set, and
make sure you send them to me.
that I can work.
Perfect. So again, we'll pop back into the Friends of. So we've got some emails that we're working on, letters that we're working on, flyers that we're working on, just to gauge interest and sort of see where we're at as a community. It's well past time, but again, trying to do it alone, and then with the changes, like with staffing everywhere and the collaboration groups that I've had and people moving and changing jobs, it makes it really hard. So Mm-hmm.
is very difficult because, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
have young kids.
Mm-hmm.
We're very, very busy.
Very, very
Yeah,
busy.
really hard.
Mhm.
These things we're willing to do, and we try and be as involved as possible in the
Mhm.
town. But it is a limitation in that way.
Right.
So I think too, I do think that town recreation has to be for more than just the kids.
Yeah.
That's why I like
Yeah.
the Mother's Day thing.
And again,
Always try to reach out there, but
Yep.
we really need to develop that side of it.
and that's on there too.
Um,
Expand and diversify programming. Because we've been there. We've done that.
yeah, it is for the older.
It is.
You know,
Yep.
but it's like, yeah, life is so very busy.
Mhm.
That it's hard, yeah.
Yep.
So,
And it is, this is some new for Mary Jane probably. But when you're funding yourself, you don't have your own facility, you don't have support staff in place. It makes it harder to have a hugely diversified program because you don't have the people to work on all those pieces of the pie, right? So, So-
we put in a lot of time.
You put in a lot of time.
Meetings,
Yeah.
like we work.
individually, yeah,
We cover morning, like when, you
Yeah.
know. it's-
yeah. When we were all out sick at the same time, I was like, oh, guys, Yeah.
We just- Whatever, yeah.
whatever it takes. Like we do whatever it takes.
So it's nice to have some more people interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've tried to recruit people, we've tried, and people are busy.
They're busy. Again, our demographic especially.
Yeah. So it's nice to have a.
Yeah. But, working it all together. Mm,
Are you sure? Can check and see if you qualify for 501(c)(3).
we are not, but a Friends Up group is. Yeah.
Oh, that's why you're creating. a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not us.
Totally not.
We're not. It's not us. It's not us. That's why we need a committee member liaison. Yeah.
It's just like the Friends of the Library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have so the Friends of the Library works with the trustees, the Friends of the Seniors works with the COA. So we're going to get Friends of is going to work with a committee member as a liaison. Like same sort of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And again, something that we've talked about and I was talking about with
It's time to complete it. Like
right. It's time to complete it. And it's not like we don't have binders with all of this in here. Like we do.
And we got
It's-
plenty of friends.
And we got plenty of friends. Let's just go.
They don't want to
Yeah.
have that huge commitment.
Yep.
So this
Yep.
is a place where you can kind of help.
Well,
them.
and I think that with the visual that has come through with the town this year, as hard as it has been on everybody, it has highlighted where the town has some blind spots and where things have gone missing to be able to grow. Like, oh, yeah, we actually have this really great department that does a ton of things, but there's nobody's there. Like, well, how do we do it? And why is this happening here? Why is the money going there instead of going there? So I think that it's actually been helpful in that way to sort of shine that light and be a visual for that. To sort of say, oh, we're not missing these programs. They're here. Oh, okay. So I want to do something with them maybe. Or, okay, well, how do we make this bigger? Or can we do this? And
Yeah.
can we do that? The interest grows that way. That's the kind of word of mouth you want. So again, diversifying. And I've worked with most of the other departments in the towns over these 12 years on some program or another. We've run some form of program or another for years.
Yeah.
And this is just, okay, let's solidify that and continue. And let's, make that a priority again, now that we're out of this other cycle that we've been in.
So the Friends of Recreation does not exist.
Not yet.
No, we had wanted to.
And that-
make sense, and we had kind of looked into it, but literally it's been the three of us and Emmy trying to get stuff done for
Years.
years. We haven't had any, we've tried to recruit people or
Mhm.
say are you
Yeah.
interested, we'd love to have
So
you,
you
but
can start without being a 501(c), right?
So
that's
kind
kind of saying that we
yeah.
can link through.
TEO can work on grants on our behalf to get started on that
Right.
for some of our
And you can
programming.
get the book from them.
Yes,
Right.
we can. Yes,
We can
And
definitely
then,
yes, we can start building it. Kim,
and that sounds like what you guys have been doing. with
that's exactly
Henry.
it. Yep. And she's been outreaching. We've got Stephanie. I get Kim. I get a few that are already in the looks. I think I'm going after Ron.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going after Ron. He's in. But like I said, that's why next week I'm meeting with Kim because she actually has that paperwork sort of
That's kind of
outline
what
that
we were
we need.
lacking. We were like,
And
how do we
Edry.
take that next step and make
Yeah.
sure we do it properly.
Yep.
And that everything's in place. So
Yeah.
someone who knows how to do that.
So it's
gonna be
really-
again, it's gonna be a lot quicker, a
Yeah.
lot more efficient than
Yeah.
trying to learn how to do it and then
And with Kim and Edry on board, that's kind of
they
their,
can kind of.
that's
take the
kind of
lead
their
on it.
bailiwick,
That's great.
which is,
They're gonna
it's
be
not
great at
mine.
that, Yeah.
Like,
No,
I-
me either.
You know, it's not my job to create a nonprofit as much as I want one.
And
As much as I want one, I don't have, that's not what I'm supposed to do.
yeah,
So having people in our corner that can, and that they now have the time to be able to do that, I think is really such a huge blessing for us right now. So did you have any other questions on that part?
No.
Okay, so yeah,
That we know.
so we have within my launch, and I'm happy afterwards if you want me to show you some of the specific stuff that we have for the promotions to go online to seek volunteers and seek people that are interested in that sort of thing. I have stuff for that already built,
And
you know.
so is that something that we can
Keeping
kind of
interest,
reach
yeah.
out to people that
Yeah.
we think might be?
You're all going to get them. You're going to get them in email version. You'll be able to pull them off the website. Yep. And you can start, you can start shooting them out at your leisure to everybody and their best friends. That's the goal.
One is, I was talking to Liz May, and I asked if she would, of course, I wasn't on the board, but I asked if she would be interested in partnering with us with the band.
Mm-hmm.
So, because, we need fundraising,
Mm.
she needs people to come to a band concert,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the town needs band concerts to look more inviting
Mm-hmm.
than they do.
Mm-hmm.
So I did her a favor and I said, oh, you own me now. And she said, what? I said, you have to, let rec come in and do something. I don't know what. And she said, what about the money? I said, don't worry about the money. We'll split it, rec and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Because she's all worried about her church is not getting funded. But her churches are not volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to fund them anymore. She's really in the pickle.
Yeah.
To get people.
I get it.
So,
But again, we can't because we fund everything ourselves. I cannot run any programs or events that do not pay for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to, so that's what you need to understand what that means, right?
Like the friend could do something.
Right.
you can't do it.
Because I
We have to
can't
pay
fund,
ourselves.
right, I can't
And we can't
fund
that through own.
Yeah. the work to get it done.
So
that make sense?
We could get volunteers perhaps.
Mhm.
That's something we could definitely.
She wants to talk.
No, absolutely. She has my information. We've done stuff with the bike rodeo for years.
Totally open
Yeah,
to
totally.
collaboration. We just have to get creative. Make it work.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, it's
Really
hard. I get
We
it.
can think about that because that would be something that would work for us, but we just have to get the logistics down.
Right.
Because that's the thing, I think everyone forgets, like,
Yeah.
every penny we spend, we're hustling
It's
to,
hustle. And it has to go to the programs that are in place. Like I
And
can't,
it's,
I don't have, so it is very,
it's different.
so it's different for recreation than it is for say the senior center or the library, because they're sort of in the same encapsule as us, is that our staff is not funded by the town. Their staff is. Our staff is funded by our program. So if the program is not making money, if I'm doing a free event, I don't have staff. So does that make,
I don't know, I understand.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I could absolutely make money at the band concert, but I also need to plan it.
So like, it's something that if we had some volunteers, some friends of.
Right.
That were willing to do that, we might be able to say, okay, we got some staff that can do this.
Or even people that may not be our friends of yet, because it's going to take months to get that into place, but at least that are in that interest of volunteering that have come through, then we can do that. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm absolutely interested in that. I'm not going to throw it down at all. It's always logistic. You know, where's the best bang for our buck and how much what's the best use of our time for the community as a whole?
And like that.
And I love band concerts.
Run a lot of our programs, by
Yeah.
people just being like, oh, I will volunteer and run that for free.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then you get to a point that not everyone's interested in doing that.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah.
it's a struggle sometimes to get those volunteers.
Yeah. And I mean,
And it's across the board.
it's across the board. No, it's the
same.
same, you know, like the schools used to have like 4 field trips a year. And now there's like one every 2 years. You know, I mean, it's like, and they're still struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even the in-house ones, they need extra. I mean,
we can't get coaches.
I know. It's really hard. It's really
hard.
crazy. But like I said, we've got an outline we've got the starts of all of the
And
pieces that we need.
Eager, like maybe that's like somewhere we can be like, okay, to get started, we're gonna do this.
We need this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. And I love the idea of doing, I mean, heck, I went to band concerts here when I was a kid before I moved away. Like, didn't everybody? They're like the thing. I'd love to do that. So yeah, absolutely. Yep. So hey, you just voluntold yourself to connect with Betty May. Awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, and again, summer's even harder, but I realize that's obviously when things are going on. But
Well, and that's
it's what it is. It is what it is. It is the more entire. Yeah, right. I mean, definitely. Strengthens communications and marketing, and again, a big part of that for me is getting an AI assistant. You know, having somebody that can write my morning notes for me, and I can just speak them. I talk a lot faster than I type, and you know, sorting my brain out is a lot easier if I don't have to tab color everything myself. You know what I mean? It's just to be able to be like, okay, put together an entire week of social media posts and set them up because you can schedule them online. You don't even have to go in daily, right? So, but this is, I like everybody else is working to keep up with what's going on. And because it's not my primary industry, I have to take classes and I'm a nerd, so I like it. But, you know, I am having to learn how to do it.
You're doing something right.
Yeah, and you want to do it right.
Yeah.
I don't want to just like, and I don't.
That is definitely a quality of yours.
And I don't want to.
About it.
Yeah, I want to know all about it, and I want to do it right. And I don't want to waste time because yes, I can. I'm sure I could figure this out, but we don't. None of us have time for that.
Yeah.
They really. I mean, Matt doesn't want me being like, "Hey, Matt, can you spend a couple of hours trying to figure out how to run this AI program?" He's gonna be like, "I think not." It's like, no. So just the communications and marketing. Once we have some folks in place, we can do a newsletter, which would be awesome. Stories, I'm already working on that with the testimonials. We can get paid advertising once we have a newsletter, which is great. And I don't think I need to because we're putting some things are in play already. We can get started with a simple one without advertising just to start getting like a one-page front and then work to a full newsletter with paid advertising that comes even through the friends group instead of us that can be funneled through. So we'll work on all that. We already have the websites. I do need to figure out, I don't know how to work Instagram or TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah.
And my staff already does so much. I mean, I'm sure Evan could whip it up for us in like 5 minutes. But I mean, we should probably know what we're doing.
I feel like
with
Instagram for sure, but like
I don't even know.
Our parents on TikTok?
Yeah, some of them are because we're not just millennials anymore. The Gen Zs are coming in. like
I don't even have it. I just what like the 4 news.
Yeah. So that's the other thing though too. Like we could even do YouTube. We have the permissions on all of our registration forms for media.
During COVID,
yeah. So we could be doing that again. Like there's a lot of opportunities out there that because time and funds have been so tight that we've had to focus on where we can have the largest impact. And we're noting that things are moving to technology in a big way. We have to keep up with it. So taking a class, starting to get some of this up online and get it organized so that it's a quick checklist instead of hours and hours of planning is going to make things so much easier to do that kind of outreach and even do the print work. You know, Canva, you can do direct print from Canva, like straight. That's fantastic. I'm excited about it. Yeah, we've talked about a lot of the programs that are on here. We've done some of them already. Some of them we have not done because of our spatial constraints. And comfort constraints for some of this. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be a forever thing. Although open space and recreation on the plan is to get an actual community center for recreation, which would be golden to, start working on that. But there are some things that we can still do in the meantime.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we got some things. But yeah, pulling some of the other stuff together, we've done it. We'll continue doing it. and we'll broaden it as we can. But I'm working a little bit now with starting to put together some restructuring proposals for the way some of the entities in the area handle programming. That's all. Yeah, looking at quarterly results, sort of seeing where we're at, putting together a survey, fundraising plan put together with Friends of Group. Bottom line is, I feel like it's what I was hearing from the organizations. Anytime there's like a big push for something, we need people, because it's obvious that I'm not going to get staff from the town.
Right.
This is a department that is not, but we're also still not in the 70s where every parent and their best friend volunteers to do things. So we got to get creative, or more creative. I feel like it's like coming out of my pores already, but we're going to just have to keep flexing around it and picking and choosing what has the biggest bang for what we can do with the towns that we have. It doesn't make sense to go on a, wild hair somewhere and delve into something that none of us know anything about and the town doesn't seem to want just because, like that doesn't make any sense. But to continue on what we're hearing from our public and from our community members makes a whole lot more sense overall, which is what we're doing.
Again, we could add to that, like maybe putting out what people would like to see.
Yeah. Yep. And we've
done that before.
We've done that a couple times.
But it's just like they're kind of a fresh group now.
Yep. Oh yeah. No, we have a new cycle of
a lot of people moved
age.
Town,
Yep.
A lot of people moved out of town. There's a lot of people that are like getting to be at the point where there would be a willingness.
Yep. Exactly. And yeah, we haven't done a survey of interest. It's been since right after COVID.
Yeah.
I think we did one right after COVID. Probably been about 4 years, maybe 3, since we did like a full-on survey of like, hey, where are we focusing?
Well, also like
what do you like?
Coming from other places, like they're probably hopefully bringing good ideas and different things that we could.
Put together. Absolutely. I ordered the RRCA books for the Kids Run program. They finally put them back out. Yeah. So I've ordered those. So I should have them really soon, hopefully. And I ordered the little backpack clips that the kids will get for reaching milestones, each, not actual mile, but each of their levels of completion. So the reward system's in play for that. So we'll keep on that one. Staff for summer. So I've got some of my regulars with the current reappointments. I'll put that together. The board does reappointments in June, appointments in June, but I'll submit. I'm going to submit the memo as soon as I can for the reappointments, and then hiring. Like I said, I think I'm only going to hire 2. I just feel
there's a huge room with numbers.
Yeah.
That's probably what we're going to
do. But every year we need to hire a couple of people.
On the other end, we're going to have nobody.
Yeah, right. Which happened after COVID because we couldn't really hire anybody, and then everybody graduated from college and stayed for a year and then left. We're like, oh, okay, we have to hire 12 people now. So, but I think
you never want to have experience.
No. Yeah. So I think 2, maybe 3, depending on what we have for candidates. I actually am meeting with somebody today, and then I've got 4 more applications on my desk to contact to get them back in for an interview.
I sent you one that came to me.
Yeah. You guys are on there too, so of course it's going to happen as well.
I just let them know that I was going to be.
And I didn't put it in here because I just was thinking staff when I was at it, but I do have a new hire for the mornings at Rec Kids.
Yeah. Okay.
So Mary Jane, you're not aware of this, but our Rec Kids AM, one of our staff members or the other staff member, took a job, congratulations, Megan, with Amazon in Boston. It's actually really fancy. But I've been filling in as the Rec Kids AM person for 3 weeks.
I've been here. We've been filling in.
Right.
So
6:45 in the morning till 8:45 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm acting as a rec counselor instead of the rec director for some of it. I'm just I'm multitasking both. But we don't.
So we hired somebody.
So we're hiring somebody.
Yeah.
So I work. Obviously, we all work a lot of dual roles here. But we don't ever leave a staff member alone with children. That's no matter how long they've been with us. It's not safe for the child or for the staff. So there's always, even if I only have 3 kids here or 2 kids here, there's going to be 2 staff members always. So with having one of my staff members leave and not being able to fill it right, most people don't want to work 6:45 in the morning until 9. It's such a weird, it's just weird, right?
Yeah.
But I finally got it up, posted online, took a bit, got that up. And actually her name is Jody. But she actually contacted me, because she had time. She's like, I think I really just want to do something with recreation. I have all this time in the mornings and I think this would be great.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome. So she filled out the paperwork. She actually came in the morning and did a rec morning with us to see what it's like, because it's different, like it's just to see, okay, not for everybody, 6:45 in the morning with some ragamuffins, right? Doesn't matter the weather, doesn't matter the day, like we got them. It is. It's so funny because we get the split group. We've got the kids that just want to fall asleep on a beanbag chair and the other ones that are literally doing laps around the room. Like, I'm ready. So I'm putting that together, her packet together now for human resources and putting the offer letter together. It's going to be the standard starting rate, minimum wage for rec kids, as usual, what we have in place for that. So I've got that in goal. That's really it for me for business. Obviously, there's a lots going on, but this is the imminent stuff that we needed to get on our plate, on the agenda, start talking about it so that we can move as soon as we're ready to move. Do you guys have any questions for me of what we've been doing for the last little bit? I know we each keep in contact individually about things and I update you with big things, but anything that's come across the table, you got any questions with? Mary Jane, did you have any other questions? I'm catching up.
I feel like that's a lot of information.
It's a lot.
Yeah, no, I got it. I don't have questions now, but next time I will.
Okay.
I will. I'm curious as to, now I'm talking about the town and the rest,
Mm-hmm.
not what you're doing. What's the story on that spot? Is that a private money for
It is. So we were actually set up with the superintendent and with the school committee back before they first put it into place. We were actually asked if we would put together a program. That's actually how Rec Kids ended up developing, because we put together an entire program for the school district. And then we got a flyer saying that they had an after school or before and after school program, and it was a private entity that they was paying the school to use the school, and it was now a for-profit entity instead of a community program. So we were and that's sort of how Rec Kids started, because we had this blueprint, and we're like, well, we can't do it for everybody, but we can do it at a lesser cost for the community members that can't afford private care.
Expensive.
It was.
That's why I started coming here. Yeah. Well, that's why I was like, oh yeah, because I couldn't afford to go there because they were
go to private instead of
I will not posit on what their decision making was, but I'm guessing it's because we have a contracted rate of what we pay to the schools to utilize them, and it is not their going rate. But again, this was years ago. So
recreation, we have to pay.
Yeah, we could.
I think we should. Because the parents they're going to go to what is there.
Some of them.
We have we do have kids here every single morning.
Have one and do it there instead.
That's what we would. That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, and
we've put that forward.
We've put that forward on numerous occasions. Yeah, so I'm happy to revisit it for again.
Just like a little bit of background, we have struggled even getting space to run our summer program.
That's been in business for 50 years. Very. No.
Yeah.
You think?
I mean, that's from the taxpayers.
I mean, it's honestly, it's been in decline for years, but when they took the flyers out of the schools.
So we can't send the flyer home.
Oh, I know.
That's a whole big thing. Yeah. The whole big thing.
And I just don't get it.
We had home ec classes. We talked about doing things for teenagers. I was running home ec classes. We had a grant from the United Way. We didn't end up being able to have half of them because they're like, oh no, we're only allowing educational flyers through the schools. It has to be education, and because they're not education, we're not editing. So I sent it to them. I said, these are education. Clearly it's education and it's missing from the high school. We're doing it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It did go through the Lunenburg schools. They handed them all out, and Leominster handed them out. And I think Air. I contacted all their principals, but yeah, we ended up, it's not great because we're offering within the same demographic at a rate that most of our citizenry can afford. And that's the reality. We're a community-based organization so that
And the
it is
kids take the
affordable.
bus from here,
And they take the bus now.
They take the bus back.
Yep.
It's just like, we could just streamline this.
Yep, we could.
Yeah, I just don't get it, and I'm talking to Patty, because she didn't get it either.
No.
No, you know, and that's the.
And the other thing is that we're not a traditional before and after school program. That's actually a legal term, before and after school, because it has to do with education. We are not promising to do your child's homework with them. We are not structured that way.
The work play.
But we're actually, and it's in our mission, and we went through the Board of Health with this. We're actually a play program. We're not an education program.
What's the difference? I mean, I'm not.
So like the difference between rec and like ACP, because that you understand. So ACP I was a town employee. I was contracted with the school, and I worked for the school system at a separate before and after school program. But this is not, like, it's completely separate from that. Was that like it was school based? Everybody was school employees. We're not. We're not even.
And
we're not. The only town employee part of rec is
May.
Nobody is a town employee.
My staff.
We're, you have to bring all.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So that makes sense.
None of us are doing the four.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, your councils are
Yes.
not town.
They
are
town employee, but they're not paid
funded by the town.
They're
Yes,
paid by our
right,
program.
right, I totally get that.
I feel like it doesn't get confused.
The primary difference is that we are not an education institution. We are a recreation institution, and they are completely different. We had to go through this during COVID because we had to get certifications to open our programs through DESE because we are recreation. So if you go on the MassGov site, we're under recreation. We're not under education. It is a separate entity. It doesn't make any difference for our programmings. We're basically the same thing, but we're play-based, they're education-based. Now the one that's in there,
most of the parents don't.
No, they don't. And the one that's in there now, my understanding is that is its own entity. And that is actually I believe it's actually like a daycare entity that is running it, not an education or recreation. It's a daycare entity.
Right.
So that's my understanding.
They do have a lot of certified teachers and special ed kind of people. Like, you never know if that's for real or if they're just there because I need them. But, so tell me again, so there's a difference between the rec and the educational part of the after school program.
Right.
Is that by definition of the application that you submitted or are they required?
So no, it's not necessarily a requirement. It's like if the kids, they'll be like, hey, can you help me with my spelling? Sure. They read us out of their storybook or whatever, that's fine. But it's not a defined part of our program. It's not our mission. Our mission is recreation and play. Our mission is children being children. It's not
before.
No, we are an AM and PM. So we actually have a morning program, and our morning program is defined by mindfulness and movement to actually incorporate that into it. And the afternoon is play focused, period. And so, although again, obviously the kids do their homework, they have snacks, they do arts and crafts, they do STEM, we play outside. I mean, we were water balloons. It's very the same. It's the Mary Jane. We are not a for-profit that is paying the school for rent.
Because wouldn't it be ideal?
But the people are still paying, so you could pay the school.
We could, but we wouldn't charge what they're charging because we are a community-based organization.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
right.
If they want for rent, we could never
afford. Yeah.
Oh,
so like having
parents can't benefit from the school.
Correct.
So it's astronomical. To pay their rent, what we would have to charge the parents is what they're charging, and then it's not going to help us. If we
So
could
that-
work together.
Right.
My point, I think.
If we could.
A win would be one.
Okay,
And we have
so-
tried this many times.
So we have it,
Tim's on that.
I feel like it's changed so much.
it's changed so many years.
Like our
We've
liaisons
changed so
have
many
changed so
times.
much. I-
It'll be Val with us now. I think Val's with us now,
I've not
which
yet.
is great. She's
Val.
fantastic. But so this is a good, I can put it in this. So last year, so we have a contract in place. So for what we pay for the summer now, because we had to for the school for the summer, correct? But last
Done it
year-
for- Since I was.
They've been
Yeah,
using
so
the
it's
schools
good.
for 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, for 50 years, they've been using the schools. But
So was it last year or the year before we got a bill?
it was the year before last. So we've been getting some bills, but we've always been like, okay, no, this is not happening. But it started again in COVID. But the bill that we got before we put in this contract was like $18,000 per week.
Yeah.
It was like per week.
I think it was
And then
eight.
it was,
It was
and-
not more than we could ever.
but then more, yeah, for that one, and then Hawthorne, I think the whole total was something like $24,000.
So, but the parents don't know. Because
Some people do.
Public knowledge.
Public knowledge.
Speaking from this, when they're trying to find a place for their kids. So it's new.
And it has been, right, it has been a hot topic for years amongst those that utilize recreation because they're like, we already pay for the school. We already pay for the space and you're a town entity. We've had the argument.
Yeah,
We've
no, we see what you're saying, and like we
been there. We all feel the same.
So it got to the point that we had to have a liaison and we had a whole debate and
It's a whole big,
because we were like, that's unreasonable, that bill.
I guess the question is, how much do you realize that the school revenues coming from that you would be able to buy?
So
It's still worth looking at again.
It's-
Worth looking at every
it's
year.
always. No, absolutely not. I'm not anti in any way, shape or form. But again, I am only me. The town does not pay any of our staff. So I have to
Again, yeah.
focus where we have the best option for success.
No, I
for
understand,
success.
but you're not opposed to.
Never.
Oh, no.
No, never. No. And actually, we were at one point, and it's actually the Board of
And I
Health.
don't know if that's required.
It's not.
I don't
It's
think
not
it'd be
required.
This
No,
wouldn't be required to offer.
No, because we are a municipal legal program. There's no reason for us to change our status to education. Absolutely not. No,
It's even easier.
it's even easier. Yes,
If they
it's
were
on there.
access, we'd be like, we
Sure.
should definitely put a program together.
It's same. I mean, communities Brookline, New Hampshire, theirs is pretty active. Megan actually worked for us and
Yeah,
for them,
yeah.
doing the same, the same thing.
I
But
think most
and
towns do,
most towns do.
because it makes sense.
So, yeah, but we do,
It's the bigger idea. of it.
right.
It's if we're a community.
Well, it's
we
the
should be-
perception of community.
Absolutely.
And then again, you've got the parents, like, you could give them a flyer.
Yeah.
For another activity.
Yeah.
That would be part of.
Wouldn't that-
Yeah, really.
It's about, so again, our primary focus, and this is such a thing, and it's a lot of this messaging that we're working to get out even further now, because we have to broaden, is that we are community-based. And we've been a community-based organization for 50 plus years. The way we've done business has had to change with the times, obviously, but we are community. That's what we are. And the purpose of recreation is to put in programming that our community can afford.
We have a lot of town employees.
A lot of time, a lot of kids, a lot of families have come through. We do, again, the adult programming, and then we've had the teen programming, and we've had the little programming, and we were one of maybe a dozen programs that actually were open during COVID in person, because we went through the work to get certified with the state to do it, including we did the remote learning classes, like actual, school.
So that was one of the questions, and the other question I had was the rider.
Mm-hmm.
So I support recreation, there's a lot of things that I get, you and I'm curious as to why recreation can't thrive again.
Well, recreation could.
Yeah.
Recreation could. Mm-hmm.
That there would be some kind of collaboration where
Mm-hmm.
you if this recreation took over some of the activities,
Mm-hmm.
then the library would be free to
Do library things?
Well, yeah, that's what I want to say. Use their grant money another way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
That
Yeah,
makes-
we are very open to stuff.
And we have, and well, yeah, and we have done some collaborations, but what's happened again is we've actually put some things out into the universe to get started and start working on volunteers. And then the library or the senior center has run that program or that event.
We're a
Because-
very small base, and it's literally what you see right here, and then whatever staff that we're able to pay.
Right. So some of it's space and some of it's literally just been taken out of our hands.
Sometimes
run
we
with.
can't offer as big of a program as somebody who has their staff paid for and.
No, I get it.
But like, we would work with anybody.
But going back to the fact,
Mhm.
why are they working with you? If you work with.
That's a good question.
Why won't they work with you?
It's a good question.
Because I'm not seeing, and I see a lot of her being like as should be up there,
Yes.
could be.
It,
Could be is the key word.
Could be.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't
Yeah.
say should or.
Could be.
but absolutely.
And to your, and that, don't they have a kitchen in that?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And we've put on nutrition classes and cooking classes.
Without.
But again, getting to use that space is a whole nother ballgame.
I feel like what's happening right now might create a space for people to think and work a little bit more collaboratively, because like love the library. I think
Same. Same.
I would never want to say anything bad about them,
Yeah,
but I
same.
do think if we work together, we can achieve a lot more.
Yeah.
I think that from what I've been seeing on the phone, that's not a fun. There's a lot of, not a welcoming, for volunteers. I think that people are put off by the personalities of the people who invite you. If they really don't want you there, and that's what it all boils down to. Because they want to control your own, whatever you're interested in going.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it has to be a huge, what's the word, like a push.
Yeah.
That we're gonna do
Shift. Yeah.
a shift.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like too, with having this Friends of the Library,
That would be very
Friends of
helpful.
the Friends of the Library are a lot of the Friends of Recreation.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a overlap. There's gonna be, there's a lot of people that are involved with that.
And I think that that's how some of the,
Trying to organically.
that's how I think some of the could have or could be's ends up happening where,
I think it's the only way, because like we're all,
We get done like now.
yeah, exactly.
Rookie Miracle. Well,
Mhm.
This is not a not been tried. This has been a, where do we focus? If we want to go back to it, I'm 100%. We're
Yeah.
all in. We have done collaborations. Even like the fall craft, we started that on the Common. That was a recreation event. So the big fall craft fair thing, big craft fair vendors, all of that. Yeah, that all started, gosh, Fall Fest. It was like my second year, I think, that I was here. We put that in play, and then it's just grown and grown, but not with us. So it just becomes, no, it's not the one with the Historic Society.
Oh.
No,
No, that was
No.
the one that all, that's.
no, it's the holiday. Yeah, it was that was a completely different entity. The holiday. Yeah. Yeah. So it just became it just rolls over. And I'm happy again. We're always the door's always open. We are, come with us. We're happy to do it. We've done a couple of things over the years, and been happy to do it with other groups. We work really well together on grant committees. We've worked really good together on putting together programs.
I also feel like not one of us sitting here, and that's because you're an
Right.
employee, has anything to gain
No,
from being on this board.
No,
We're all doing it. No, what I'm saying is like, my kids don't have a home
not anymore. No.
Your kids are
No.
older. So, we're not here for any kind of influence.
Agenda.
We're not trying to do that. We just want there to be the stuff that our kids did enjoy.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or not even that, just
The vibrancy of it.
we're trying to create something, and I feel like we've done all this, we do all this groundwork, it builds up, and I get kind of like either shut down or fizzle.
Mhm.
And I don't know the answer of how to make it to the next step, because I feel like we've got a lot of ideas, we've got a lot of energy,
Yeah.
and we're willing to do it.
I can tell you that. The other committees that I've been on. Because I just started getting into this.
What are the things?
Well, I'm on,
You said-
I'm on consortium.
Okay, is that the thing with the conservation? No.
No, conservation, yeah.
Okay,
That's really regular.
so like the historical society?
It's, well, there's two.
Okay.
Only district, so district, you're in the district. So if you want to put the roof on that.
Oh, yes.
We've been there. We've been there, done that. The stairs, the roof. Yeah.
But my point being, I've noticed that a lot of people who are on this board, they say, well, it's all really hard. And they tried really hard 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Like one of the examples is the historic society. We said, well, let's go to a high school and get some kids to come and volunteer. And they said, oh, we've already tried the school, they won't do it. We said, really? So we went, name a part of history people, and they've been coming up with something. So to the point where now we're giving them a scholarship.
And I do think that you can get to a point that you're like, I'm almost fed up with trying.
Correct.
We need some fresh, yeah, I agree.
Friend contact there too.
Yeah, and what we were just saying, so much is changing with like.
So much is changing. Yeah. And it is.
Yeah, it is.
I think everything goes through cycles, and we are definitely
But I do feel like maybe we've
At
felt like, oh.
a push cycle.
Forget it.
But it is the wrong attitude.
Well, but it's an opinion.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think any of us are against asking again.
Now, the third one I want. What is the fourth? How come recreation?
No, I don't have 4 hours to give you today because, a limited time. You're on to something there. That's all.
Don't film the land.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Right?
No, we do. Most of it, yeah. Or it was given to us dedicated to recreation, but was then later parceled off to individual organizations.
The town has definitely.
Mm-hmm. They basically leased out the land underneath the town as for recreation purposes to specific sports.
So what leagues do we have?
We are like one of the very few recreation departments that are at some point, and again, we haven't been able to find when it happened, but at some point, recreation parks became cemetery and parks and recreation. And at some point, our fields were no longer there was no longer a hub for the sports programs to go through. They just took the individual fields to upkeep.
I will say, they're all doing.
And they
fabulous
are.
job.
And I'm gonna agree. They do
We have
I mean,
great
the upkeep's there. Yep.
Because of that, but again.
But it's not
Sort of.
the root.
Collaboration.
Correct. And this was well before our time, like long before we came around.
When I was a kid.
Yeah, long before.
I think too, that like, that's why I think that's why maybe we don't have all the incoming funds.
That's exactly.
With most of the other towns, and I talk with Pepperell, it's, I haven't talked to them recently, but talking with Pepperell, most of their funds come through the fields. Like it comes through the field. I mean, it's most towns.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even with the fields now, that goes through the school. If you want to rent the field.
I know. So they're getting the money.
The one on the end.
No,
Oh,
that's by the baseball.
Yeah,
they're.
Which reminds me, which of you guys want to reach out to them because they've changed all the locks and my shed, that property that my shed is on and my shed is actually still the town's property. All the locks around the field.
Where's your shed?
We're in the back corner of that.
Anyone?
Yeah. That yes, because you know what? A bunch of balls went through them
Okay.
and nobody contacted me. I just went and fixed it. Like took the pictures. I got the pictures and I've got what we need to purchase for the wood and what have you, but waiting for the weather to change. But yeah, so that's mine. But they've changed all the locks, so I can't no on the gate. I can't get in. I can't pull anything. Yeah, we need keys because I have to be able to access because I don't have that. So yeah.
They using all the fields one and just happening with the fire station. And the one now.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Those are my.
And I'm happy, at some point, once we're done with this town thing happening, we can sit down and go through some history because I've been here 12 years, but a lot of stuff I inherited. There's a lot that was inherited that untangling is going to take time and dedication and more than me. So that's which I'm all in for. Again, collaboration. Anytime any other entity has come and been like, hey, I've got this thought, let's do this. I'm like, we're in. Like anytime, whether it's, we've had new businesses come to town, they wanted to get jump started. We had an amazing yoga instructor. She was fantastic. She love. COVID hit. She went virtual and then she went to the senior center because they've got the space, to grow. But she was new. She was wonderful. And I still love her and we still communicate and she's still a huge supporter of rec. But again, spatially, it became an issue once things changed. But, we're there, we're available. We always are. We're truly like, what's good for the community and what can we do? What can we do?
Okay, so I'm the fitness center.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say, I know this is like getting down, but just say we don't get to 30 grand by the end.
Mm.
So I saw what it looks like, and it's very, very dramatic. I can see why you don't go everything. Is it possible that you could put the center, split it and put it on a rail trail and have stations?
No.
That's their design.
Mm-hmm.
We can't.
Oh, you have to go back.
Yeah, it's like they
franchise.
No, it's not a franchise.
Their product.
Yeah.
They would come.
Specification.
Yeah. And you know what? I can actually show you some videos of the one in Burlington, but it's countrywide. Yeah, it's countrywide.
Yeah.
But they don't
let you do what you want.
No.
Years ago over in Howard Park, there was the different stations you could go to and do that.
Yeah, you walk along and then you.
So I looked at those. I actually looked at getting professional ones done for individual stations for the town to do in varying places. And we would have spent way more than 200 grand to do parts and pieces.
No,
but my thought on that, because it's very modern comparatively to the town. However, there's no reason why we can't decor up with foliage and, with hedging and with pollinating and all of those other things for that whole back area as we go, because we did not get a sponsor that is going to be on the back.
Well, I also saw that Driver is with the high school.
Mm-hmm.
They collaborated with the high school in their school.
We did that. We tried.
And they said no.
Absolutely not. The answer is no. Because we've been working on this for 5 years. All of the things that
deadlines and we have had to push it out.
Yeah.
Because it's just been a
yeah, and it's and I remember being so angry when COVID hit because we've had the opportunity to build this twice and no. And then all of a sudden everybody's crying out for outdoor recreation. I was like, I wasn't angry at the people I was just angry as a whole that it wasn't here and available. And I was just like, it's happening. We're so passionate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
everything else, that's what we're doing.
It's not, no, I don't. Unfortunately, and it's pathetic and it's hard.
But so at the beginning of these processes, the last few years, and with the changes, the questions that you're asking, and we will continue. I'm happy to answer them. I'm in open. No, but I was like more business. My thought was more. Real estate values. It really is. We've done, again, the research is there. So, but it's, local businesses, absolutely. The impact's there. It's so cool. And having it with a big reason why it's there is because of Adams Dam and the rail trail. And then
I think of as much of it. Looks very imposing, but it's very honest. Yeah.
again, we have architectural drawings
Yeah.
that show the space that are by Mass state standards for parking and everything. So we do have those. They're just not online because they're drawings.
So actually, you guys have.
There's been a large contingent for many years that wanted recreation to stay in the 1970s. They wanted it there, like just volunteer based, and that's really created a stopgap for growth. And we've grown huge. I mean, when I started the job, it was tough. And then I myself and
Emily.
Emily and Alice and a few other, we spent 6 months with the Department of Corrections from the Shirley Prison in this building rehabbing it with recreation funds.
Oh, they have that.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got them in here and we had them for about, I want to say it was on and off for about 6 months, their construction crew. But I mean, scraping, painting, all of it was done. And it was in firm opposition from the town. And the state inspector that came in said this building was very close to within 2 years of needing to actually be torn down when we got it, because they had let everything settle and sit in the building with it shut down. I know. But we brought it back to life.
Yeah.
And it's serving great purpose.
Well, we're at the point now that we need a bit more.
But right, we've outgrown
You know,
it.
like, we can do what we can do, but we need like to be able to use the school,
Yeah.
or we need to be able to use the
Mhm.
what's it, the grand room or whatever.
Yeah, the great hall.
We get to the point that we have too many kids
Yeah.
to be in here on like for summer. Like we could never run summer out of here. We could never. We have to rent space from the school.
And then what we do, the extended day is here, and we're actually going to be utilizing the meeting hall space for extended day.
The town pays the school. to rent.
Recreation does.
We pay out of our revolving fund.
The town doesn't pay any. Remember, taxpayers don't pay anything.
So
But, yeah. Into the town. Yeah.
Nope, they do not. They don't care whether it's a nonprofit, a profit, a town entity. It's all you have to pay to use the schools. No, it's all. No.
So for the summer, like we'll get our contract and we'll
Yep.
agree to our, the dates that we're gonna start.
Yep.
The dates that we're gonna leave, and they'll have a price that we've already at least gotten.
Yeah,
We've
that's
got-
in play
We've
For
done
a
that
couple of
with
years, yeah.
the board of selectmen, we had a contact that helped us
Yeah.
do that.
And Eric was in.
But that was,
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, we've passed that hurdle,
Yeah,
but it's still a significant
yeah, it's still
chunk of our
significant.
debt.
And once it's up, it's up. We got to go back again and try again.
Yeah.
And honestly, the reason that it all came about is because the lease was up for Spalding, and so the town was renegotiating Spalding itself as a school to the school district.
Yeah.
And the town owns the school. That's what I'm not understanding.
Right.
That's why we got our contract.
But why? But exactly. But why? Yeah, I know. Why? I know. I know. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome to Townsend Recreation.
No,
I have a T-shirt for you. Get ready for some Play-Doh and some shift, my friends. But our town, but again, our community and our rec families
Are
and
great.
those that use us and those that find us and those that ask for us are amazing.
And I think that they don't.
It's amazing.
That's
No,
kind of the
they
purpose of
don't.
The library, that's
But here's the
for the
thing.
Friends of the Rec.
It's like, okay, so yes, they need to know the hard work that goes into it. However, our programs should be seamless to those that use them.
Oh, no, I understand.
So they shouldn't see the wizard behind the curtain. That's not their job, right? Their job is to
We don't want to further poison the community.
right, exactly.
That's
Well,
Right.
I think that the new job, you know, people are talking about, like I told you, people are talking about that.
Oh, well, I know where that came from directly though. So
Well,
that's
but I mean, that's that message.
Yeah.
And we just say,
So if you watch our meetings, we're very clear about all of it. And all of our rec families know the background. Yeah. And again, a lot of
I
that
think
was
you have to go so far back to see where a lot of it come from that.
the poisoned well.
School, that's very,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
That's a poisoned well, is what it is.
And that to me is unacceptable.
Yeah.
And yet they're asking for the million
Oh,
a year from our tax dollars.
Yes.
And they don't want to.
Town departments, town entity, like town departments,
Mhm.
municipal departments in any of the towns are not able to utilize the school facilities for what the taxpayers are already paying.
I don't think that makes sense. Clear on that.
So, and exactly, and again, that's a bigger, this is a bigger and info drop than just recreation, because none of them would be able to. They all have to, any entity that is a town department or municipal department has to pay to utilize, even if we wanted to use one single classroom. And they're thinking, well, okay, the maintenance people. Okay, but their maintenance people are really after school till like 9 o'clock at night, most of them.
Oh, we need to pay.
Yeah.
I just ran that. I had, we did a program at the St. Patrick's Day.
Mhm.
And I had to deal with them. I will say the people I dealt with were great.
Oh yeah, they are great people.
The money was like, okay, what are you gonna do? After you leave for the other 4 hours?
Right.
Which you're not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm. So
I
It's-
understand.
we are on mission for the community, and there are large battles, most of them put in place before we came on, some that we've already conquered, some that we're still chipping away at. Because at the end of the day, we're still here. There's been a lot of come and gone. We're still here. Yeah, still here. Still fighting the good fight. Still bringing what we can. And there are so many opportunities, like in this sheet, there's so many places.
Full-time employees, like, can't imagine what we can do.
Yeah, even 5 part-time employees that were like, I know, that we didn't have to worry about. I know that we didn't have to worry about paying. Like they could do the work. Like, because there's the administrative stuff that is done and stuff like building flyers and all that, because again, it has to do with cause and effect, right? In order to stay affordable, we can't charge the kind of rates for classes that private would, because we're paying for just the staff and just the supplies, right? We're paying for exactly what needs to be paid for. But the stuff to actually put it all together, the magic that actually makes it all happen, that's onlyest me. That's onlyest me, one person. I don't have support staff in the way of availability. I guess is the best way to put it, right? And that doesn't mean that things don't get done, because again, my board has been, over the years, all of my boards have been incredible about bringing their talents to the table, like absolutely incredible, which I'm so grateful for. But there are things that we'd love to revisit, and I'm super happy to do so. Absolutely super happy to do so. Did you ever go to one of our tea parties at the library?
No, but I'm trying to buy the library so I can do a tea room. And have a large.
We did,
Before it falls down.
yeah, wouldn't that be lovely? We did, live theater tea party. We did 8 of them. I think we did 8 of them. And we collaborated again with the library at the meeting hall in between the library and senior center. Could we? No, they're too big. The events were huge.
Oh, the event.
Yeah, the events were too huge for that. Yeah, the reading room. They were sellout, like 80 seat, 90 seats. Live theater, tea party for young children, really, and adults and seniors. Everybody came, honestly. We had all ages. And basically, we worked with the library. We adapted a book to live theater.
Oh, okay.
And recreation. We provided all of it except the library space. And Molly did the readings. And basically, as the reading goes along, our characters are acting it out amongst all the tables and saying all their lines. And we actually had a chef come in and it was full. It was like a full formal tea, except all the tea was cold because we had a lot of children. But it was herbal teas. Because the time and energy to do it was more than I could do by myself and still keep up with all the other programs. It's a big event. We charged to cover the event, and they were literally a break even. It was always a break even. It was a break even, but yes, we did. And they were lovely. Oh, I'd have to go back and look at the flyers, but yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom painted all the sets. It's literally like a live theater production, but in a room. And instead of being like a murder mystery dinner, it was a children's. And we did fairy tales primarily. But they were amazing. It was amazing. All the little kids are in full dress up, and even actually we had a lot of seniors come in fully dressed up, like, and they're but yeah.
Did workshops in theater and all that in California, and he asked me if there was anything going on.
We used to have theatrics,
So
but my director moved away.
he was interested in.
Tell him to call me. We had.
He wants to go how broad.
So we had theatrics. It was instead of theatrics, it was Rex at the end. And we did it again. It was probably my first 4 or 5 years
before we moved back.
But my director and a bunch of my stage hands, the director was an adult, moved away, and then a bunch of my stage people colleged out and started moving because people don't stay in Townsend, they leave, right? So, and then again, it comes to the time I was like, I don't have the time to replace these people and start the new program that this new board wants to do or that the town needs. So it became and then again, we had a couple of other. The imitation is the greatest form of flattery. I just keep telling myself that.
Well, the thing is too, we had
Over and over.
like cool stuff, like when we had like the
Really cool.
the rock band.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. I thought that was fabulous.
Yep.
Like we had,
But again, aged out, timed out, grew out. Yeah.
But I feel like that's something
These cycles.
There's like a new.
There's a new group.
But then.
Brad.
Fran and John. Yeah.
So he's starting to get lessons from him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fantastic. Well, it started during the summer rec program, and we used to do it during the summer rec program. But then the schools wouldn't let us have the extra classroom anymore, so we had to stop. And then they came here and did some evenings, and then that was right up until I think again it was COVID. And then when he made all of his adaptations during COVID, there was no need for him to utilize a building anymore because he had made and it was a better business model for him. So, but again, doesn't mean we can't revisit it now with somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't mean that we can't shift again.
Yeah. Okay, like that's fine.
Yeah, we can always move back in and try again. Are you heading out? Yeah, so we can always do that. No problem. I had Evan walk him over. So, yeah, so again, not something that can't be revisited, just something that hasn't been revisited.
I think we've been running the standstill.
We have been.
And like having pressure is no question mine.
Yeah. And honestly,
it's been very hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And again, once you midway through, so 5 years ago, you know, having to shift everything completely and then for 2 years, try and shift everything back again has been difficult.
Yeah, I think that's
and
hard.
And the reality is, from the big building behind us, we have had major opposition to even operating, despite the fact that the populace that uses us really, really wants us and wants us to grow even bigger. And partnering to do the shared street,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
partnering with Squanicook to, with the River Rail Trail to get them boosted to keep, to extend, working with them on that outside of shared streets, working on some of the other programs, give the other groups
Stuff we did, yeah.
being that, having Safe Routes to School come to us because the schools didn't want to work with them, like in doing stuff with them, which reminds me, I think we have a walking to school thing coming up pretty soon.
Let me know when.
I'll let you know so you can come and do that again.
Yeah. Oh, when they did it?
Walking, yeah. So doing Safe Routes to School, there's a lot that's happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but yeah,
Get it in with everything.
we'll fit it in. We'll just fit it in.
Thursday.
Yeah, I know, Monday or Thursday, fitting everybody's schedule, but there is a lot. We are doing a lot. But there are things that we can revisit, and I love the idea of having some fresh eyes to say, okay, well, we can try something that we've tried already, but maybe the time wasn't right for it, or maybe there's something new, a different way,
Maybe there's
a different thing.
Yeah. Well, because how many different liaisons have we had?
I know.
I feel like sometimes we get one, we never even meet them, and then they're gone again, and you're like,
That's what's happening here.
I don't. There are linked to the rest of the different.
And honestly,
Right.
we've had some that worked really hard, like hugely helpful. No, we've had some liaisons
really good ones.
Mhm. that really stepped
But
into
there's
place.
some that I've never even met.
Yeah.
So, and I'm interested to meet the new Valerie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard really great
Mhm.
things.
She's
So I'm
fantastic. Yeah.
I'm hopeful that that'll be good.
Yeah. So she was with the trustees for 9 years.
so
Yeah.
That'll be good.
For 9 years. Yeah. She's pretty fantastic. But yeah, so those are, like I said, there's a lot of history. I'm happy to sit down. We can talk about more of that too. So that just understanding why some of the backgrounds that we can look at approaches. We've got somewhat of a timeline, some priorities that we've put in play, some places that we can explore for growth, further growth. And, but I think right now we really have to work on getting that Friends of group. We've got to finish that fitness sport, and I got to get ready for summer.
I was gonna say summer.
We gotta get ready for summer.
Circle back and make sure we have the bodies and the numbers
Yep.
to support that summer,
Yep.
so that we can. Because that's the only way we get any
Momentum.
forward, Yeah.
Specific dates yet, because I know like the
Yeah.
12th is the last day of school. When do we start? Do we start before the 4th?
They're there.
They're on here?
I think it's on there.
Yeah,
Yep,
June
June
23rd.
23rd.
Okay, and you're going along
I'm
here.
going August 15th.
Nice.
End of the
Oh, yeah.
second week.
And it's so early this year.
Yeah. So we actually get that extra week at the beginning that we normally don't.
All of August, but that's only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Extra.
Yeah. We have a full week in front of 4th of July this year. Like we have a full entire week in front of it because the lease says something like along the lines they have to have one full week of school in empty
They need us out for a full week.
out for a full week so they can get it and then we can go in. Yeah.
Early.
But it puts us, it gives us a longer season for summer, which parents have been asking for forever and ever.
Well, it's really awkward for parents when they can't.
I know. And being able to have the extended day and adding the one day this time, like
No, I
adding
that.
other
I like all
options.
the flexibility this year.
Yeah, it made a few things different for that. So,
So how are our numbers?
not great. Not yet.
Hopefully after all this uncertainty is behind us, it'll be.
And again, I think folks are pretty used to us opening it up in May
Yeah.
because we've always had to, because we've had to wait on the school, right? So, but this year, because we have it in play from last year, we were able to
How long
roll
is
it
that for?
earlier. I think it ends in 26. Yeah. Yeah. Ends for 26, I think, in 26. So yeah, so it's out earlier, but again, there was, some meetings in which recreation was posted, kind of. And
I think people made other.
I know, I agree. And that's nothing we can do about that. So we have to just sort of push forward. And that's why we've put this campaign for the summer flyers and stuff to go out in different ways this year, other than just social media. Like I said, you guys are all going to be getting a pile and y'all going to be handing them out everywhere you go. Matt, they're going to be on the counter. Yeah. I know you go a lot of places. They're going to be out there.
I got that busy little.
They got to go out. They got to go out. And we're redoing the board. Like I said, it got a little waterlogged. So the kids you can see, they started working on new pictures to go up around it. So the board's going to go back out. And
That's great.
yeah. But I mean, it looks really great and it did the thing. So we were able to hand out a lot on voting.
That was really smart.
Yeah.
That was really smart. Yeah, that was cool when I saw
Yeah,
that.
wasn't that fun?
Yeah.
That was fun. So yeah, we were able to do that. I was like, gosh, I wish I could do it for Tuesday.
I
But-
know.
However, wrong place, wrong time. You know,
Yeah.
wrong place, wrong time, but right people. So it's really, it's a tough one, but that's okay. It's all right. We're gonna just keep pushing. We're fine. We always are. I know. We always are though. Like we always figure out the ways to do it, and it always ends up working beautifully for the town. So we're just gonna keep going. And like I said, now that we have some better game plans for circumventing some of this year's challenges, I think we're fine. I think we're in a good spot.
We just need to know when you need us for,
Well, let me know when your vacations are.
like I said, we're just gonna be away in August and 1 weekend.
Okay.
I've had interviews.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like the beginning of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you know. I've got, like I said, I only have 4 now. It's only actually actively been up for a week.
No, I looked the other day and that was up.
That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, like we're actually really good right now.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah. It's hard. It's hard, but it's only also, like I said, it's only been up for a week. I do need to do a social media boost on them now that the links are
Yeah,
active,
because there were
right?
people that were reaching out to me and that's what I was just
Yeah.
saying.
Well, because
Everyone's like getting excited.
they're not, our pages are messed up on the website.
Yeah, really.
We'll put that on the next agenda. Maybe we can get that
I
fixed.
struggle with the web.
I know.
But even like talking people through how to sign up for like the C Club is
I
like,
know.
I have to send them like screenshots and then I'm finally like, I'll drive to your house and take a check.
I know.
It's just like impossible.
It's so true. So true. I know. But again, we work it out and people, we copy and paste the instructions so many times.
Oh my goodness.
We got it.
Screenshot, like, now it should look like this. Now it should look like this.
We'll send you those screenshots.
Yeah.
All right, Mary Jane, so that you have them, so that when people start asking, you can tell them how to get to all the different things you have to get to.
Oh.
Unipay. All right, are we good? Do you guys have anything else today?
I think we kind of went.
All right, if you want to send me any of your thoughts and stuff for the next agenda, you can. Mary Jane, you and I can get together at the end of this week or next week, and we can power through a bunch of what we've got so that you can see. Yeah, exactly. Once we get through town meeting, we'll hit it after that.
But like there is just so much context.
So much content.
It's hard to like. I imagine you must think like, but like yeah, there's so many people to play. Yeah. You always yeah, okay. So you remember before and change.
Yeah. And I just was, so I just started out.
Yes. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be.
Understand outsourcing in town.
They shouldn't be.
No, absolutely not. And even services at town hall are outsourcing unreasonable. I mean,
In some cases, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes. So we agree. We're on the same page.
And I get a lot of people who would go and say, oh, they're just buying property and they can get in town, they don't live the others and the house on it. But I don't think that's true.
No.
People
I
want
think
to live.
families are.
Yeah, families are embrace their community,
Mhm.
their here. I think that was a bad attitude that permeated the town for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
I want to get away from only talking about our talent based stuff, but that's a conversation.
I know. A whole nother.
I just think it's all happening on like Facebook and social media. And I just feel like we need to like move away from that. Yeah. It's just not.
It is. It's like high school. It's
Yeah,
like
it's not
being in high school.
appropriate. And I think we somehow have to find a way to communicate with the people that are new that don't even know these things exist. And I just don't know how to do that. Yeah.
And I think that you move on this thing, the postcard thing is a good
A great
idea.
idea. Well, we kind of got shut down by the
Mhm.
sending the flyers home through school, and that's what we had always done. So now we need to reinvent it. 'Cause,
But
like,
again, it costs almost $600 to send out postcards to the town.
No, I know
it's
that.
So again,
yeah.
I don't have an operating budget from the town.
tough.
So I don't have disposable funds like,
So we
Yeah,
do all these like fundraisers. We have all these
Yeah,
ideas
all
that we
these
want to do.
yeah.
But we have to cover that. Yeah.
So we struggle with that. But
printing,
no
same
lack
thing.
of
No lack of ideas. And, there are those, it's a pick and choose method. However, it's always open. Like the idea for recreation is to evolve. Recreation means different things over the generations, over the times, over the area that you live in. like all of that shifts and changes, and the wants shift and change. You know, volleyball was something that we did for years and years and years, and then
The
we
schools
just,
do it.
the schools took over doing it, and then we were like, okay, well, we're not doing it now because the schools are doing it. So why? Because then you start running the class and you don't have enough participants, and you're competing with yourself, or you know,
Yeah.
the same thing in town.
We're
So
trying to find our spot.
yeah, and
Exactly.
yeah, again, that whole imitation flattery thing. I'm gonna get a button and I'm gonna wear it. I'm just gonna wear it.
Well,
There's amazing
like,
things.
We could just do it together.
Yeah,
Better.
but it's just,
Bigger.
but things shift again. Like, you know, some of the needs and the wants of the towns have changed over time, and you know, we flow with that as much as we can. But there are things that have been in place for years, again, before me, that should be changed and should have been changed, and that we actually have been working to change. So a lot of some of the things that you brought up today that we've been working on, more quietly, but that I'm
Yeah.
hoping with
And
the
now
big
the money
shifts.
Stuff is becoming a real big issue.
Mhm.
I mean, if the school wants to continue to get millions of dollars from the tax, they're gonna have to collaborate.
You know? Yeah,
Well, I'll be saying.
yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. So we're all sort of in that same mode. And like I said, I'm super happy to sit down and we can go over some context for some of this and other programs that we've done, and you know, get working on that survey to get out again. Because it's been a while since we put one out. Yeah, it's been a little while. So that's it. That's all I got today. I know it was a lot. It was way more than I thought it was going to be, but we did have a lot of stuff inside of this stuff.
All right.
And that's okay. Yeah.
So it is, 1:57.
Yeah.
All the recreation meeting to a close. All in favor?
Bye.